Just feeding the turtles and the fish. Nice big bass right there. Turtles are coming in late afternoon. Oh, that's a big boy right there. That bass look good, 17, 18 inches. He's big. But anyways, just feeding some of these guys right now. I'm gonna walk down here by the pond. I'm gonna take you to the other side, and we're just gonna check. We've seen maybe some activity pretty recently here. So I'll take you out here, different part of the property here. But I think we have some more gators, obviously in the pond. I mean, we saw them here in August. I'll be a little careful here. This part of the property off the pond here is not fenced, so we'll be a little more cautious. But something's been kind of bedding down right here. You can see where the grass is flattened out. We noticed this yesterday, and it goes right into the pond here. So we probably have somebody here who's probably laying out here in the morning, catching some sun. But you can see this whole area right here is flattened out, and he's sliding right down in the water here. So this gator is probably pretty decent size from what it looks like. And we have another area of the pond that resembles this on the other side of the fence. So yeah, I think we have probably a couple decent size gators here. Have not seen them, but that doesn't mean that they're not here, because we have seen them in here. So thought I would share that with all of you before we start today's video. A lot happening. Markets in the red. NASDAQ got crushed today. Everything pretty much did. Gold, silver, Bitcoin annihilated. You got to be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Something is brewing without a doubt. Be very, very careful if you're gambling in these markets, because I don't know, I got a bad feeling that something very, very serious is nearing. And a lot of people just don't believe anything bad can happen, and well, it can. But pretty beautiful evening, late afternoon. Water is glass. This is this little path right here is where Aaron was taking the kayak. But I saw a beaver out here the other night swimming right over here. But a lot of activity. Saw a big owl sitting on that stump out there last night. He was huge, huge. But anyways, let's get into what's going on. We got a lot to talk about today. Just wanted to share that with you. Yes, there are gators in this pond, and it is what it is. It's just part of nature. And yes, we're always very, very careful with the animals from day one. A lot of people out there just think like we let the animals run right up to the pond. There is a 3-foot fence at the other end by the yard, so I'm not too concerned about that. There is no fence here, so they don't even come near this end of the property, because they would be at a very, very high risk. Especially looking at what is laying out over there is probably pretty good size. I'm thinking probably 5 feet. So that could definitely eat any one of our dogs, including Turbo. So it is always a concern, and we make sure that we're very responsible with all the animals. But look at these guys, just having a relaxing evening, eating, chilling out. Water's looking good. But anyways, let's get into what is going on. It's Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Hope everybody's having a great day. If you would, please make sure to like this video, share this video, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. I got a few articles here I want to share with everybody. First one, Bloomberg. Stocks halt rally as Wall Street CEO sound alarm, markets wrap. The question is, this is coming from Bloomberg, the question is, what is going to happen with these tech stocks if we begin to see the FOMO wear out, if the bubble in tech stocks gets pricked? What is going to happen? What kind of devastation will the stock market see? As we know, the Mag 7 have been literally carrying the load here, and it's only a matter of time before the FOMO does run out, before something does prick the tech bubble, and what kind of fallout are we going to see in the stock market when this does happen? But people now are beginning to get a little bit nervous. Things are overheating. Be very, very cautious out there. The hedge today, a lot of things about this market haven't been adding up for a while. Goldman partner warns. We are long overdue for a correction, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that probably 98% of the people watching this video today would agree with that. The question is the magnitude of the correction. How big will the correction be? I don't think it's going to be a correction. I think it's going to be a full-blown collapse, and I think a lot of people are going to be destroyed in these markets. There's still a lot of greed out there. There's still FOMO out there, and people are going to stay at the poker table just a little bit too long, and they're going to learn a very, very valuable lesson here. Comment down below on any of this, your thoughts. Is the market overheating? Are tech stocks overvalued? Will these tech stocks bring down the entire market? Let me know. How much of a bubble are we in? This is on the hedge today. UBS strategists expose warning signals or a peak. You notice more and more people, economists, strategists, people in the financial sector are beginning to get nervous. Some are actually sounding the alarm, and maybe we should all be paying attention here to what is going on. Not just what people are saying, but watching what is going on. We have watched these markets, overvalued for years, continue to go up and up. The bubbles continue to inflate, but for how long? And what is going to be the devastation when they burst? What kind of devastation will we see? How bad will it be? How many people are going to get hurt? How many banks will be leveled? How many pensions will be wiped out? This is going to be an absolute historic biblical event when it unfolds. CNBC, Bitcoin falls below $100,000 for the first time since late June. Right now, as I make this video, it is around $99,000 for Bitcoin. And what we're watching right now could trigger a sharper sell-off in Bitcoin and cryptos across the board. We are going to see, and look, gold was down today, silver was down today, not nearly as bad as Bitcoin, but everything pretty much took a haircut today. But I do believe we're going to see what assets, and if you may not even want to call Bitcoin an asset, who knows what it really is. To me, it's just monopoly money made out of thin air. But let's just say, let's call it an asset today. We are going to find out which assets, stocks, bonds, gold, silver, cryptos, Bitcoin, all this, we're going to see which ones survive this collapse. This collapse will be brutal, and we're going to find out which assets survive. And I think that even though gold and silver are down today, gold really not down all that much, but I would much rather be holding something real, something tangible when this happens versus something that is just digits on a screen that you cannot hold. That's my opinion. And look, if you need to get some gold or silver, I've been dealing with SD Bullion for 8 years. Go to my link down below. Great company, great people, competitive prices. They're going to get it to you as fast as they can, but guess what? It's getting much more difficult to get this stuff because they are selling a lot of gold, a lot of silver, and now orders are delayed and premiums are going up. So the longer you wait, the longer this chaos ensues, the uncertainty, the premiums are probably going to go up, and I think at some point prices are going to go to the moon. But for right now, my personal opinion, I think this stuff is on sale. And if you're on the fence, you're thinking about getting some of the stuff, order it, lock it in. If you get it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, at least you're going to get it and you can lock it in. Prices go up, they go down. Nobody has a crystal ball. But I think that this is the most important time in human history that you want to be holding real assets. CNBC, job openings in October slumped to the lowest level since February of 2021. This is a big problem. We are now watching a labor crisis take place as we're watching these mass corporate layoffs continue. Here's one today. IBM cutting thousands of jobs in the fourth quarter, 3,000 jobs globally. And so we're losing jobs and we're seeing less job openings, not a good combination. So if you lose a good job, like a job at IBM, you lose one of these corporate white collar jobs, very, very hard to replace. But you know, what a Christmas present to the people at IBM who are going to get laid off at the end of the year here. Nobody is immune now from a layoff. This economy is going to touch everybody, and you have to be protecting yourself. I've been saying this for years. You must be protecting yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. You know, Enrique would come on the show multiple times and say, you know, you need an emergency fund, not a food fund, an emergency financial fund of 12 months to be able to pay your mortgage, put food on the table. Most people could not go a weekend. Most people in this country, near 70%, are living paycheck to paycheck, and many can't even make it to the next paycheck. So what happens when the money runs out? What happens when somebody loses a job? What happens to that household? We're looking at different numbers, 7.5 million to 10 million automobiles in the process of repossession. You lose a car, you're done. How do you go to work? How do you get the kids to school? How do you go to the grocery store? It is a life-altering experience to lose a car. The repo man is extremely busy. They cannot keep up with the load of repossessions. And this is a very, very serious indicator of just how bad the U.S. economy is. You tell me the last year, almost 3 million cars repossessed. This year it'll be more. And we have 7.5 to 10 million cars in the repossession process right now. When was the last time you ever even heard of anything like this? High food prices are taking a big bite out of restaurant chains in 2025. Chain restaurants are closing hundreds of locations this year after menu prices rose between 30 and 80% in the last 5 years. This on the Hedge today. Again, it is not a good sign for the U.S. economy. At least 15 major chains have filed for bankruptcy this year alone. And when you look at some of the financial losses of these restaurants, KFC has lost $250 million this year. Chipotle, $150 million in losses. Popeyes, $91 million net income drop. TGI Fridays, $100 million in losses. Denny's, $40 million in losses. Papa John's, $30 million. Burger King, closing 377 units. Denny's, closing 90 locations. TGI Fridays, 100 locations. Jack in the Box, 120 locations closing. Hardee's, 145 locations. Wendy's, 72. And Popeyes closing 30 locations. And look, I would say most of these restaurants are horrible and probably closing for a good reason, because I've been to a couple of these places. Popeyes, I haven't been to Wendy's in a long time. Haven't been to Denny's in a while, but I will tell you, the Denny's food is not what it was 20 years ago. That's for sure. This is just microwavable food. TGI Fridays, I haven't been there in many, many years. Jack in the Box, horrible food, typically horrible service. Popeyes, hit or miss. Popeyes is so expensive to go get chicken. The chicken, literally, it looks like they're cooking pigeons over there. The size of the chicken is so small. And typically at Popeyes, the service is always very mediocre, if not bad, extremely overpriced. There's way better, at least in Alabama, there's way better chicken places in my opinion. But a lot of these places, a lot of these restaurants too, are dirty. I probably hadn't been to a Wendy's in a couple years. Last one I went to was in the desert, dirty. Popeyes, dirty. Denny's, dirty. So this is why I think a lot of this, I mean, yes, prices have gone up, but the service is horrible. The restaurants are dirty. And a lot of these restaurants look like they were just run into the ground. So that's why I think a lot of these places are closing. Yes, inflation. Yes, the economy playing a role. But if you're not on top of your game, if you're in the restaurant business and you're not on your A game, I will tell you out here in this area, there's a lot of restaurants, and many of them seem to be doing okay. If you're not on your A game out here, you just will not survive, because there's just options. And so people are going to go to better options where there's better service, where it might be a little less expensive, where it's cleaner. I don't know about you, but when you go to a restaurant, if I see a dirty restaurant, I don't typically like to go to a dirty restaurant. Clean restaurant, good service, and good food, you're going to go back. But a lot of these places, a lot of these employees, they don't care. A lot of these people that work at these restaurants, and many other jobs too, I'm not just picking on people working at fast food restaurants, but a lot of people just don't seem to want to work. They almost seem irritated that they have to work and that they have to, take your orders. So now they're not going to have a job. Another subprime lender, Bayside Credit, stops originating loans. They're out of Irvine, California. This now, I think, is the third subprime auto lender. I believe this is an auto lender. They stopped originating loans back in July. The auto sector is melting down. The repossessions, the defaults, I've never seen anything like this. And this could trigger something very, very serious. And this could set off a collapse, a financial collapse here in America. Imagine the amount of loans now that are not getting paid back. Banks are going to eat these losses. The car lots, the auto auctions, they don't know what to do with all these cars. I cannot even believe that the auto dealers are charging what they're charging for vehicles when so many vehicles are going back because of repossession. Where are all these cars sitting? If somebody knows, please comment down below. I know there's got to be fields, acreage, thousands of acres of cars across this country just sitting somewhere rotting. You have to put these cars somewhere. Last time we were at the Mannheim Auto Auction, there was, over 20,000 cars there, many of them repossessions, and it's just getting worse. Daily Mail, Disneyland hit by mass layoffs despite charging record prices for entry. They just laid off 100 people while ticket prices hit an all-time high. The Magic of Disney, one-day ticket, $224. A hot dog will cost you $15.99. A Coke will cost you $4.50. You have got to have a hole in your head to go to a place like this. A family of four, parking, food, souvenirs, tickets, all this is thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. You have got to have a hole in your head to support an organization like this. Number one, politically, they are just like demonic. And what they're charging is disgusting. There's better places to spend your money. There's better places to spend your time. And we need to be voting with our time. And we especially need to be voting with our wallets. And Disneyland, forget it. Don't waste your time. They are ripping you off, just like all those casinos and hotels in Las Vegas, ripping you off. And now people aren't going because they just don't have any money. If they did, they'd still be going. But now they don't have any money and they're forced not to go. 1 million New Yorkers say they will flee New York City if Mandani wins today's mayoral race. This is interesting. The wealthiest 1% fund roughly half of New York City's income tax revenue. If a fraction of these people bounce out of New York, it will be a complete disaster for the city. I almost hope he wins now. I was talking to somebody today, and I almost hope he wins because New York's going to get what they deserve. But then I think that I don't want this guy to win either. I think this is bad for America, but we're going to have a lot to talk about in 2026 if he wins. The fact that this guy, that they're even considering this guy just considering him, and he probably will be the mayor of New York, but the fact that they're just considering this guy tells us how much America has fallen and how much trouble we are really in. We're in serious trouble. What are your thoughts? Will he win? Maybe by the time this video airs, we'll know more. But very, very disturbing. But the fact that this guy is in the lead and that he probably will win, that is just telling you and I the trouble that this country is already in. Nothing's going to stop what's coming. Every day, I just feel like we're getting closer and closer to something really, really big, historic, epic, biblical taking place. And it is going to. There's no doubt about it. There's just too much debt. We are past the point of no return. The debt alone is already telling you that we're in big trouble and that there's going to be repercussions because of the debt. But the bubbles, come here, the bubbles, they're going to have to be dealt with. They're going to burst. And when they do, there is going to be hell to pay. And people who are living the good life right now, many of them, they're going to have a rude awakening after they get wiped out. And I really, I think, I don't give financial advice. I'm not a financial planner, but I think it's probably a good time to take some profits and be a little conservative here and kind of see how this all shakes out. This thing is overheating, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Hey, Bowie, this thing is overheating bad. Be very, very careful. And you may not even be in these markets, but your pension might be, your city might be, your job might be. This is going to affect everybody one way or another. And of course, it will spill out socially. And we're going to live through something we never thought humanly possible and something we never thought could take place here in the United States of America. You can thank your politicians for all this. They sold us out a long time ago. And we will now suffer the consequences and pay the price. So will your kids, so will your grandkids. This country's changing. And I'm really, really now losing a lot of faith in this country and where it's going because I don't see the debts getting smaller or the deficits. They're increasing. I don't see the wars going away. They're increasing. The tension in this country, the division in this country, this thing is like a pressure cooker. The country is like a pressure cooker. And when this thing blows, there's going to be a mess on the walls. Be careful out there. Say your prayers. Walk the walk, ladies and gentlemen. This is no time to take this lightly, especially if you have kids. Make sure you have the skills. Make sure that you're aware of what's going on. And make sure you're protecting your assets, your family, everything you worked for. And all we can do is what we can do as a family. We're not stopping what's coming, that's for sure. There's no way we're going to stop this. Now we have to hunker down. And as Bill Holter said, it's a game of really who loses the least, because I think everybody's going to lose something. Just make sure it's not your life. Be safe out there. Be strong. Be training. God bless. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Have a good evening.